Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another episode of Building Web3 with us here at Mean. My name's Mo. I'll be your host for today. I'm part of the Mean DAO community, working with them as the head of partnerships. And with me today, I have a special guest, Bo from Canoe Finance. How are you doing, Bo?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thanks for the invitation. I'd like to join this speech and talk more about Web3 and opportunity in the coming months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, excited to have you on the show. And we have a very interesting topic today, which is Web3 as a bridge between developed and developing countries. Before we head into that, let's start with getting to know you a bit better. Why don't you share a bit about yourself, who you are, where are you based, and your story about how you got into Web3?
Okay, sure. Okay, so hello, everyone. Here is Gu. I'm the founder and co-contributor from Canon Finance. I'm based in Singapore now, but I grow in China. I grow in a small town of China. So I joined the Web3 and during my university, and it it will be the 2018. I helped launch the US mainnet and launch my first DeFi platform. It's called Pizza Finance, but it run on US mainnet. Then when it go to the 2021, I launched a Git Alliance with my partners, a sheet from Comia, and we launched the Git Alliance. And during the last year, we reached many gears in developing countries. We know the X Infinity, their popular users are from Philippines, right?
Right.
And so in the last year, I reached many developing country users. Also, Knofan CMO, Jamie, she is also from Philippines. Before she used X Infinity, he has zero knowledge. She had zero knowledge about Web3, about
Mm-hmm.
GameFi, about anything. Yeah, but
Yeah, it's
X
interesting
Infinity.
how it came together, right? Like a Web3 game such as Axie Infinity brought so many people together. I know when it was at its prime, it was, I think Philippines is still one of the biggest users in the world,
Yes.
like, for Axie and the number of guilds that they have. And there was quite a positive, pivotal moment where the average Axie player was generating more income through the game than they were working full time.
Yes, there's an interesting story between CMO and me because when we launched the Gear Alliance, we reach many users from all over the world, and I saw a video from our CMO. She
Hmm.
do the X Infinity Live around the gameplay project. So I saw his video. I think she's interesting, and I contact her. I contact her. But our CMO Jamie, she worked at a Web2 company. She worked as a designer, and
Hmm.
she doesn't have any willing to join another Web3 project. But through the X Infinity, I know her, and I try to pers- mm, persuade her to join us. So that's an interesting story. How a GameFi project connect
Hmm.
two countries, right? It's really interesting, and it has many opportunities to reach with each other through a game. And so that's my first time to feel that how does GameFi influence all over the world. Because back to Bitcoin,
Hmm.
I have few experience from Bitcoin because I don't I didn't even hold any Bitcoin. I just hold ETH, US, and those altcoin, but I didn't hold Bitcoin because it had a long history and the price is too high when I joined Web3.
Nice, interesting. So let's talk about the team a bit. You said one of your core team members is based in the Philippines. What about the rest of the team?
Yes.
How big is it, and where are they based on the map?
Okay, for our team, we have 14 people, but some are part-time contributor, and there are six to seven full-time contributor. Yeah, for our CMO, it's based Philippines, and our head of operation, he based in India. He
Mm-hmm.
worked at World, Delisim, all those big overseas company, right?
Right.
And before he joined Middleware and Delisim, he worked at Polygon, the biggest company in India. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Nice.
I think that's also an interesting story from our head of operation. We know India is in some way is a closed society. It's also a developing countries with many with the top two populations, but through Polygon, he gets the opportunity to work for any big project in the Web3. Yeah, I think that's really interesting because if he didn't work at Web3
Mm-hmm.
company, if he just works the company in India, maybe his salary will cut maybe nine 90 percentage. Yeah, so that's really a
Of
big
course.
a big jump. So so
It,
so that's charming from the Web3. Yeah.
nice. So you have team members in Philippines. You have them in India. Anywhere else?
Also, our CTO based in China. Yeah,
Okay.
and our CTO and our product manager, they worked at China, and they worked at some big Web2 company like Xiaomi, Alibaba, and also worked at from Hobby. Those working background is that's our full time uh, that's our full-time contributor in Kernel Finance because from product and technology, it really need many energy on this part. Yeah, so all of our product and technology contributor they are
Mm-hmm.
full-time. So some of contributors they are responsible for the presentation for the education. Yeah, they
Mm-hmm.
are based in Canada and America. And during the past week, we joined the X Hike event hosted by Jump. One of
Mm-hmm.
our contributors joined the whole X Hike event for weeks because he based in Chicago, and so that's one of our important contributor in Chicago. Also, we also have a contributor in Canada, and he will also join some hackathon and some event represent Canon Finance. So
That's
basically, so for Canon team, we are from we have some in America and Canada. They are in West, and
mm-hmm.
some of us based in Asia, India, Philippines, China, Singapore. So that's our basic background. That's our team background. It's a global team.
Nice. So it's meets west, pretty much. You cover all the continents, more or less, and growing, I guess.
Yes.
Um, Congratulations. Nice. Let's talk about Cano Finance. So now we know who you are, how the team is, where they're based. Let's jump into Cano Finance. Let's talk about how did the idea come about and what really is Cano Finance.
Okay, sure. Uh, I'd like to share a picture about Canon Finance.
Sure.
Okay. So if you see this picture, what is the Canon Finance? We are an open source DeFi TK of mobile software stack, and
Mm-hmm.
our vision DeFi at your fingertips. Actually, Canon here is a interesting background of Canon Finance branding name. Previously, we called MetaDex. In the
Mm-hmm.
first time, I want to build a DEX platform to do some small trades to solve some canning token. Yeah, when I but when I want to build such a DEX platform, I think it's not a DEX platform opportunity for users. I want to bring the DeFi to mass adoption. So when I think, how can I make DeFi at players' fingertip? I think we shouldn't build a DEX platform, but we should make it define with a toolkit. It's a scenario-driven and consumer-driven, not a trader-driven platform.
Hmm.
So I make such a switch. And now, as you can see, we are building anything around the mobile stack.
Right. So
It's
your approach is mobile first.
Yes,
Hmm.
because when I also got many offer some apply offers from different countries. When I had a call with them, when I had a meeting with them, I found that most of the most of employees, the potential employees, they don't have computer or
Hmm.
PC. They should rent the PC from a store. So that's made me I feel that those a huge population they don't have computer, but
Right.
they have smartphone.
Hmm.
So in this way, in smartphone ways, we can educate those users. We can bring more opportunities to those users. Even for the X Infinity, most of players they have a computer because it's hard to use in the smartphone to play
Hmm.
X Infinity.
That's
Yeah,
right.
so when I want to achieve my the Canon vision, I should build something on smartphone, right? So as you can see, Canon built an open source device GK, and we are a infra team, and because
Okay.
our tech team has a solid background, and our product team are from the biggest Web2 company in China. So we have the ability to deliver some infra layer. In order to improve our infra, so we have built two showcase. So one is a social app.
Hmm.
It's called a Connect Talk, and now it's demo. You can download from our official website, from our official Twitter, and the other one is a RPG game. It's also it's also an interesting mobile RPG game, and all those apps are available now. Yeah, so in this way, when you download those mobile application, you will understand what's our strategy,
Hmm.
how does Canon make the Web2 mass adoption in smartphone. And when you use the two mobile app, you will find that it's really friendly to any users, even he still knows Web3 background. He will know how to try, how to talk, how to play the game, and then when he has some curiosity about Web3, he can create his wallet, or he can create his first wallet and to join the Web3 world. So that's our concept about Canon finance. Yeah.
Really interesting. So your primary goal is to gamify DeFi.
Yeah, we so all those application. I think the
Hmm.
big difference between Web3 application and Web2 application, the biggest difference is the finance, the financial module.
Hmm.
When I say, because our topic is the connect the developed country and developing countries. When we say this topic, how that what is the best way to connect those countries? I think the
Hmm.
capital flow, right? So we
Right.
must use power of finance. If
Hmm.
without finance, how can we say we can connect two countries? Yeah. So I think the capital is the most useful way. So when I say our mobile app ecosystem, I don't will target it's a GameFi or anything. We build a device DK on the infra layer, and the device DK can support GameFi, can support SocialFi, right?
Hmm. Very interesting.
Whatever
Yeah.
it's SocialFi or GameFi, it will be related to finance. Yeah,
Hmm.
so that's what we are building.
Very interesting. Nice. And let's talk about what you've built so far. So, what stage are you on currently in the team?
Okay, actually, we start Canon Fans at the beginning of this year because it's not my first company or first project.
Hmm.
I have founded several projects before,
Okay.
previously. So I just start the kind of finance at the beginning of the year. Then we develop more than 10 months, and recently we got the capital and the fundraising from public chain team like Polygon, like Rangers, a GameFi chain, and like some top angels from Bitmart, from Clone Finance, from Middle World. So that's our current backers recently. Yeah,
Nice.
for
Okay.
product, you can see we put forward to mobile app, and in the fundraising process, we just started our fundraising. Yeah,
Nice. Congratulations. So you just recently completed your fundraising. Is that correct?
we just started off our fundraising,
Oh,
not
you're just
completed.
starting your fundraising. Okay, interesting.
Yes.
Okay, well, good luck with that. Looking forward to some happy news soon.
Yeah, of course, no problem. Because we want to confirm some leading investment from top investors in America and Canada. We want to
Okay.
get capital support from the developed country, and then and next step we will have many scholarship and educational plan to the developing countries. That's our future goal.
Let's talk about education. You mentioned that a few times. Can we dig a bit more into that? When you talk about education, what is your game plan around that?
Yeah, and sure. So when I introduced the education plan and the education part, I want to say one philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
I was influenced a lot by George Soros. Do you know the George Soros?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I do. Which
Yeah,
one?
it's yeah. I was influenced a lot by his open society philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
As George Soros said, what is an open society? Actually, in most developed countries, they are a closed society. Even it's China, Philippines, or India, they are a closed society compared with
Yes.
America
Mm-hmm.
and England. So what is an open society? George Soros said, an open society is a society which allows its members the greatest possible degree of freedom in pursuing their interests compatible with the interests of others. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so I'd like to share this word. It will be clear.
Nice. That's a very impactful thought
Yeah.
and approach to have. When it comes to like around educating, are you planning to create guilds around it or communities in different regions? Because now one of the challenges that comes, at least what I see, and I'm based in Thailand as well, with crypto adoption or Web3 adoption in Asia, is the lack of translation or communication, right? There's that, and then there's the second aspect of it, which is a cultural aspect, but that's a whole different gameplay. Um, do you also plan to have your own different regional teams creating content in different languages?
Yeah, and firstly, we had a good alliance, and we can get support from the Indonesia, Philippines,
Mm-hmm.
and India. We have employees, and we have some gear, some gear partnerships in those countries.
Mm-hmm.
So firstly, we were collab with some gears to deliver our scholarship. So firstly, we will collaborate with peers to deliver our scholarship. That's our first step. And
Mm-hmm.
secondly, in which way we do education, right? We
Right.
will record some codes with some platform, record some codes with some platform. And then we will say when he want to use and Web3, when he want to get his first wallet and get the reward, he download the mobile app ecosystem from Canon Finance. We provide
Mm-hmm.
some mobile tools to them. We can track the data on chain because in each of in our two mobile app they had integrated with the device DK, so we can track the on-chain data, and then
Mm-hmm.
we can delete our scholarship and our learn-to-earn plan to those country users. So the second step, we will record some courses with like learn to metaverse and such the course platform. And thirdly, we will have a co-linked pool. That means we will invite those many different projects to join this co-linked pool to reward
Mm-hmm.
the users. Yeah, because it still should back to the financial part. It will have some trading and
Mm-hmm.
some arbitrage behaviors. So we will introduce more projects to join our colleague pool. That means it will have a co-marketing plan. Those during continuous when we do this task one by one, he can get more rewards, and he can also join. He can also trade something, trade the token. Yeah, and we can't assure he must um, profitable in all the time. He maybe lose some money in the trading in the trading pattern, right?
Mm-hmm.
He may lose and he may earn this, but what we can offer is a financial tool on the mobile. In he can trade something and he can feel how the global market works. Yeah, so that's our big step to do the education.
Interesting. So that means you will be planning to maybe even teach about just in general financial management as well, or just on the trading side. It's an interesting idea or approach, I would say, because one thing that comes to my mind immediately is regionally different regions have a bit of different approach when it comes to financial literacy, right? And also user
Yes,
behavior. Within Asia, one of the things that is quite predominantly present is this almost in the background approach of being more of a gambler and more into lotteries and so on. So, how would you do you see that being a challenge when it comes to financial education of these new users?
yes, yeah. I think the first we will hand all the product and technology problem. As you can see, the architecture.
Mm-hmm.
We don't require users to download any wallet, any exchange. He
Mm-hmm.
just use a mobile app. Because it has internal wallet and it has integrated the FAT through the cross chain. He can experience all the important things in Kano mobile app. Yeah, and also we will use a liquid pool to do the marketing incentive to the
Mm-hmm.
users. But when we say the Web2 users, we want to do the Web2 users mass adoption. Maybe he's from different countries or he's from other countries. The
Mm-hmm.
Web2 we want to attract some consumers because consumers have his own value on the business model, right?
Right.
It's maybe advertisement, it will be shopping behavior.
Mm-hmm.
In current capital flow logic, it's hard to connect Web3 traders and Web2 consumers. So in our design, we will introduce the scholarship. As I said, we will use some scholarship, right? And we use the scholarship to reward the consumers. But for token and NFT value, it's mainly from the Web3 traders because they pay attention to N module, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Web3 traders want to earn something. He earns something from token. He want earn something from NFT. Flip. They flip NFT to get money, right? So
Right.
and
So any form of on-chain action and engagement would lead to some form of revenue, right? And that's what would
yes,
fund the scholarship to onboard
yes,
more Web2 consumers. Interesting.
yes, yeah.
Very nice. It's a nice model, actually. Uh, cool. Like, okay, let's talk about this community then. Let's talk about where you are right now in terms of when it comes to community, your presence. Where are you currently present in terms of user base?
Currently, our user base are mainly in Philippines and India. Those are
Okay.
two main user base. But we haven't launched some marketing plan or we haven't do some user growth because currently we want attract more developers to deliver some interesting mobile app and it has its own home business value.
Mm-hmm.
And so back to our first slow trading. When I say the developing countries,
Mm-hmm.
so we didn't only send the reward to those Web2 those different country users. They also will contribute some business value. They are not a play to earn module. Then they're not in this pattern. They if he just want to play to earn or do something to earn, we will defend them as Web3 traders. But for Web2 consumers, they can
Mm-hmm.
contribute some business value. You know, when Xiaomi and Alibaba they deliver many goods and many yeah many different like clothing and
Mm-hmm.
everything. Different countries they can get money profit because in most different countries they can't produce
Some of
some
those
product.
products. Exactly.
Yes, right. So when we get some business value from which consumers, it will also provide the value support to the Wall Street project. Yeah,
Interesting.
and all
And
yeah
are you
all those
planning to
volume.
also have grants or any form of programs to incentivize developers and builders to build on top of your SDK?
Of course, we will have such a plan. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Nice. Okay, this is really interesting. So, are you already promoting that actively, or is that still something that's a work in progress that should be materializing soon?
We are we are still in developing process. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, cool. Let's talk a bit more about GameFi. So, what was the pivotal point for you? You said you started as a DEX and then you went into GameFi. Um, what was the influence for that shift?
I think in the next cycle, what GameFi will look like,
Mm-hmm.
and so for we if we look back to the history, it start from X Infinity and then in at step N, it's a move
Right.
to an mobile
Mm-hmm.
app. So if we look back at the history, we will find that friendly to use will be the keyword in the next cycle. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
actually, in the last cycle, we found that those games are stupid, and they get stupid rewards from stupid games. It's ridiculous in the last cycle. And so all those motivation are to earn something, but in the next cycle it will be play to fun. They will enjoy fun and they can contribute some business value, not to earn something, but they contribute the business value, not only to earn something, but he will consume, he will contribute his warm value, for example. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so in the next cycle, play for fun is the basic characterized or it's a basic principle. Play for fun is a
Mm-hmm.
basic principle. Then based on the play for fun, we will have some business model around the play for fun. Yeah, we can see
Interesting.
some
Nice.
trend.
So you're going to almost gamify how an individual can, from Web 2, can interact with Web 3 to not just earn but also to equally contribute.
Yes, yes,
Hmm.
yeah,
Very interesting, and that's all through mobile first mindset.
yes, of
So,
course.
talking about mobile first, let's talk a bit about Saga. What's your take on that?
Um, Saga, we are working. We are going to work with Saga because Saga is a hardware. It will integrate some the basic application. It will have his own app store on Saga
Hmm.
smartphone. That's firstly thing. So it will attract many mobile first Web3 application to join the app store. Yeah. Also, a Canonical mobile application will be on board those app store. So that's the first thing they will have on app store. The secondly is about the performance of the Solana chain. We know there are many breakdown or some break up on the Solana chain. It's not very
Hmm.
steady. Even the JPEG, JBC, they are it's a stream payment tools like a mean finance.
Yeah.
Uh, they want to use another chain. They want to link their own public chain because they think Solana is not steady. But once it launches Saga, it can solve the problem. Uh, yeah, so thoroughly because Saga is it's like a centralized device that will integrate some internal service with Solana. Even the Solana, it doesn't work, but the Saga mobile phone it can still work because he didn't use it didn't highly rely on the data on chain. It will use some his internal data. So I think
Interesting.
the value of Saga is not only a smartphone, but it also means a high performance to support the mobile app, right?
Right.
So I
Interesting.
think
So,
that's
do you think Saga
that's
will
the key
then
value.
also work as a multi-chain phone?
And for I don't know the details, but currently they focus the Solana. They will improve all the performance around the Saga because
Mm-hmm.
because the mobile app it will run many users. It should solve the performance things. Maybe 3,000 TPS is not enough. It will go to 100,000 TPS. It can
Mm-hmm.
support mobile app users. So they will focus on the performance and the trend data run on Saga. So I think in a short time they won't support multi chain. They will focus on the Solana chain. Yeah,
Yep.
that's my own opinion on
Of
their.
course, I mean that's the idea, right? We're trying to discover what each of us thinks individually, even though we might be representing and we do different organizations. So it's good to kind of
Yes.
have this conversation because everyone has their version, has their own opinion, and it's good to be opinionated. At least that's what I've learned in such a short time in this space, especially from our CEO Michelle. So really good for that. All right, let's talk about current opportunities. Where do you see opportunities when it comes to adoption of Web3 in general?
Yeah, for the opportunities, I think the social fry and the GameFi will be the main topic. The
Mm-hmm.
business model we often say that Web3 native, the token, the digital culture, the crypto native, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially in the DeFi, GameFi, NFT cycle, we say digital native, the
Yeah.
culture native. But in
Mm-hmm.
the next cycle, I think it will be business model and your application will make a difference. That matters, right? If we want onboard the Web2 user mass adoption, you should make sure your application it could match the user demand. So when I think the opportunities in the next cycle, I think it's for the layer one or layer two. I don't think the layer one chain will have a big opportunity like Solana, like AVX, like Polygon. I think there will be not such opportunity anymore. Even Aptos is really popular. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
it can beyond Solana's popularity because at in the last cycle, when we think the step N, only step N one app it supports Solana most of transaction. That's that choose. Only one step app it
Mm-hmm.
support most of Solana transaction. That means application will lead the trend, not the layer one chain lead the trend.
Right. Interesting. So yeah, mobile apps first, and then usability and user friendly is what you see as leading the mass adoption when it comes to building that bridge between Web 2 and Web 3.
Yes, even in the ETH Proctor,
Mm-hmm.
they talk about the account abstraction, right? They talk about
All right.
EOA and
Mm-hmm.
some new protocols. They are all around account friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we if we want to get more mass adoption, we should focus. We should think about this thing. Not always talk about layer one, zero knowledge, and
Mm-hmm.
those sounds really high, high percentages. But we should answer the question: where can we get the mass adoption? Where can we
Yeah.
get the use from the Web2 internet?
Yeah, this is interesting. So, talking about mass adoption, like Reddit, they did something. I think they just hacked that exact question quite recently, did they not?
Yes.
By onboarding quite a large number of users, over a million, if not mistaken, to into the Web3 space so seamlessly. What's your thoughts
Yeah.
behind that? It's quite interesting to. I've had this conversation with a few people over the last few days, so would like to hear also your opinion on this.
And recently, they use the NFT on Polygon, right? They
Mm-hmm.
use the NFT, Reddit NFT on Polygon. Yeah, if I'm not remember wrong, but they
That's
use
correct. Yeah.
NFT on Polygon. Yeah, so those big Web2 company. From my understanding, in China there are also many big Web2 companies like Tencent,
Mm-hmm.
TikTok,
Yeah.
and yeah, and Alibaba, Taobao, right? They are all big Web2 company. But I think the transition is a little difficult for them. Not Yeah, I think the capital flow and I think the financial part is the most difficult part. And there will be some logic when we want to make some capital flow from different user group. I think that's an obstacle for the Web2 platform. They can issue NFT, they can issue token, but how can you pump it? How can you
Mm-hmm.
make it a primary behavior and balance the formal? That
Yeah.
need that's not a easy that's not an easy question they can solve. That I think
Yeah.
that's the problem about this part, the financial logic in the trading platform. Yeah.
Yeah, but that also breaks down to almost this whole this challenge between developing countries and developed countries around that, right? Given
Yes.
that political stance, there is a big political influence as well around that. It's not just the transition of funds or finance or liquidity, but it's
Yes.
also breaks down a bit to who is in control of that and how
Yeah.
closely is that monitored.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's a big challenge for all of us, not only for Web2. But the Web2
Yeah.
platform, they easily because they are not very familiar with this part. We at least we experience some cycles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep, exactly. Interesting. Let's talk about developers. You mentioned that. Are there any projects that have currently built on top of your SDKs? And if so, can you share a bit about them?
Sure. Actually, there we are because in our second mobile app, is support NFT talk and some NFT project they are interested in this SDK and they want to launch their own mobile app to support the NFT utility. So
Mm-hmm.
the first will be like the NFT community, and the second thing, when it comes to another public chain, because we are building infra on the public chain, like the
Mm-hmm.
Sway and Aptos and Near, all those Rust related public chains. Some of team we are we have a reference on our SDK because we are open source. We will have some talk about this part. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. And let's talk about other projects that are around. Let's talk about Pigman. Can you share a bit more about that? What is that about for our viewers and listeners that are not too aware of it?
You mean the Pac-Man
Pac-Man.
or
Yes, that's correct. Pac-Man.
okay, yeah. Pac-Man is a deck service. We can say it's a liquid service, but will be more precise, and because
Mm-hmm.
it will improve or it will provide some liquid support for the project. It Yeah, it's quality pool and it will provide some liquid support with his new algorithm. When we say
Okay.
when the users, if the in their country users, their trading size is really small, right? They may
Mm-hmm.
be trading $100. Maybe it's a big amount for them.
That's
So
right.
if
Mm-hmm.
most of users trading in such small size, and the liquidity pool, we shouldn't okay we can't maintain a big liquidity pool like we maintain a $1 billion liquidity pool or $100 million liquidity
Mm-hmm.
pool. We can use a small liquidity pool to support those small shares. Yeah, so I think it will have some and its value is that the different country users he can support some many small traders. Yeah,
Right. So
that's
does it also mean lower slippage as well?
not low slippage.
Mm-hmm.
It's main from the liquidity side because we should consider some trade-off when we have a low cost on liquidity pool. There will be a bit more slippage on the small trade side, but the liquidity
Right.
pool it can maintain a small liquidity pool.
Mm-hmm.
That's Pac-Man work. And Pac-Man is back at Dot Lab, and they have published their exam paper to support such small chairs. Pac-Man is our is our co-partners.
Okay, interesting. Very nice. Very nice. Good to know that. Let's talk about gamify and metaverse. What's your take on metaverse? Let's dig a bit into that, and let's then explore that with where does canoe finance fit into metaverse.
Yeah, so of course we should. I think the metaverse is a widespread word, but this word is too big.
Mm-hmm.
Meta, metaverse, meta, yeah, metaverse can cover everything. If from my understanding, if I define what is metaverse, I will
Mm-hmm.
think the must how to say
Mass adoption.
it's not not mass adoption. It's a high technology because
Mm-hmm.
it is support AI, support AR, VR, and
Mm-hmm.
all those things run internet because it shouldn't have some restriction on your device. You must use some specific computer to use the metaverse project. It's
Some more
online.
expensive add-on plug-in technology to actually make the experience worth living.
Yes. I think everyone in any countries he can join the metaverse world. It's an open world.
Mm-hmm.
At least it's an open world, and everyone can join it. It's not a closed world. If it's a closed world, I don't think it's a metaverse. It's not an open world, and they have no requirement on their devices. They can join online, and from mobile to computer to PC, they can join the open online world. That's my definition on metaverse.
Mm-hmm.
Like even the sandbox, I don't think it's a metaverse project, but on the Decentraland, it can be a typical metaverse project because it's open, right? And we
Right.
can everyone will can join the open Decentraland. Yeah, so that's my definition. That's my understanding on metaverse. But in Canon Finance, what we can provide, what we are building is about the mobile things, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can provide a more mobile utility on the metaverse. We will have some entrance for users. Yeah.
Very interesting. All right, good to know. All right, I think we're coming almost close to the end of the show, and this has been quite educational and quite. Oh, it was fun to have you on the show. But before we start wrapping things up, let's jump into something that you mentioned in your tweet about, because we did get quite a few people asking about it, about those NFTs. That's really generous of you to offer those. So, what's the terms and conditions around that?
You mean the NFT reward, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. We will send the MT reward to the users who will have some feedback on
Mm-hmm.
our Canon Talk mobile app because the users can use the NFT to chat and match with other people, and they also can use the NFT to earn something. Yeah, that's the value. For
Interesting.
example, if the user he hold RMT reward, he can chat with others free, and others will pay Solana or USDT to get to get his reply, so he can earn something. And the Solana or earn USDT use this NFT.
Really interesting concept. Yeah, I think we briefly touched on that on the personal call that you and me had about the matchmaking side of Web3. Very interesting. I think we should have that conversation at another time. But before we wrap things up, Bo, any last closing thoughts, and where can people find you?
Yeah, I like to share my Twitter, and everyone can find me in Twitter.
Cool.
Uh, my Twitter is, so how can we share my Twitter? Where
Um,
can where can we
Let
share my Twitter?
me just get your Twitter so I can add it to our messaging on the screen over here. And I can also post it, and you can also post your Twitter right under the comment on the video posts on the me
Okay, no problem.
Twitter
Yeah, it's
account.
here. I Everyone can follow me in DLX and Jam. I send it in private chat. That's my Twitter account.
Perfect. Let
Yeah.
me add that.
Okay, no worry. If they want to follow me, they can follow conference firstly, and from conference they can find a blue in the official account. Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. Sounds good. All right. Bo, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. Really look forward to reconnecting with you and hopefully also looking at finding some synergy as we've been exploring that. And yeah,
Mm.
thank you so much for taking the time to be here.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks for your invitation. Have a good day.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We
Bye
will have
bye.
a great day. Thank you very much. Have a good one.